Hello, Swagatam, Suswagatam. I extend a warm welcome to you on behalf of the Arse Hamdard Tak Trust. We are here to listen wonderful lecture on role of new laws in combating of terrorism and organized crime. First of all, I invite Prakash Halsingikar sir and Geeta Shetty ma'am, President of the Arse Hamdard Tak Trust, to felicitate our today's chief guest, Mr. Sandeep Sawalkar sir.
कॅमेरा कुठे कॅमेराने फोटो घ्या ना कॅमेरा
Thank you, Prakash sir, ma'am, and Sandeep sir. Now I invite Gautam Tiwari to inform about the work of the Arse Hamdard Tak Trust.
The Hamdard Tak Trust was formed in January 2023 with the mission of providing free legal aid. It operates on the principle that justice should not be denied due to the financial constraints. As one prisoner remarked, jail is not truly prison for those who have money because they can access everything, but those who lack funds face much harsher conditions. The organization works with the belief that one should be deprived of justice due to the poverty. Thus, Hamdard Trust is providing good opportunity to not only the advocates but also the new law students who don't have legal background. Trust gives good exposure to law interns towards the litigation. Thus, Hamdard Trust is not only focused on the securing the release of the prisoners but on the reconnecting them with their families so far. Through its efforts, more than 650 prisoners have been released from the various prisons across the Maharashtra, out of which some were arrested for the offence which have been registered under Section 302, 307, 376 and various special acts like POXO and many more. Recently, organization has initiated a mobile legal aid clinic currently operating outside the two central prisons, which are Arthur Road and Thane prisons. Many more initiatives are being planned for the future. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Sakshi to continue with the new next part of the program.
Thank you, Gautam, for giving such nice information about the Arse Hamdard Tak Trust. Now I invite Yashita Sawant to introduce you about our chief guest, Sandeep Sawalkar sir.
Professor Sandeep Sawalkar is a senior assistant professor at Chembur Karnataka College of Law. He completed his BCom and LLB from Government Law College, Mumbai, and earned his Master of Laws in Constitutional and Administrative Law from the University of Mumbai's Department of Law. Additionally, he holds a diploma in cyber law from GLC Mumbai and a 2-year postgraduate diploma in human rights from New Delhi. Professor Sawalkar has qualified for both UGC NET and UGC SET and is currently pursuing his PhD from Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. Since beginning his career as an assistant professor in 2013, Professor Sawalkar joined CKCL in early 2018. His teaching portfolio includes constitutional law, administrative law, and interpretation of statutes. His academic interests span across constitutional law, administrative law, law of torts, interpretation of statutes, public international law, human rights, and cyber law. Professor Sawalkar has contributed extensively to legal scholarship with over a dozen articles published in various national and international journals. His research covers areas such as traditional knowledge, information technology, human rights, and constitutional law. He has actively participated in numerous national and international conferences and workshops and has significantly contributed to legal aid programs through the Legal Services Authority. As a respected resource person, he has delivered lectures at the Maharashtra State Human Rights Commission, various courts, colleges, and legal aid programs across Maharashtra. Notably, he was invited as a panel member by the DGIPR office, Mantralayam, Government of Maharashtra, to draft a new model act on cyber crime and cyber security. He also serves on a competitive examination committee appointed by both the Government of India and the state government. In addition to his academic and professional pursuits, Professor Sawalkar has held several administrative positions at CKCL. He has mentored and prepared students for various civil service examinations. His hobbies include reading, trekking, practicing yoga, and meditation.
Thank you, Yashita. Now I humbly request to our today's keynote speaker, Sandeep Sawalkar sir, to start the today's session on role of new laws, combating of terrorism and organized crime. Sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So everyone is aware about the title, that is the role of new laws. First of all, tell me how many of you are aware about what is law? I guess here we have the mixed participants, student as well as advocates, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So can you tell me what is law first of all? Once you understand what is law, then only you can understand its provision, its procedure in a better way. So tell me what is law and where it mentioned under the Indian law. Anyone? Yes.
Basically, laws are the regulations which regulate the behavior of the society.
Okay. Or any other student or advocate?
We can specifically say that law is an rule or a statute which is used to govern the various activities done by people in a good manner or in a bad manner. Like people commit various activities, like do commit crimes, or they even conduct good activities. So, in order to control all these activities, a law is being enacted. We can.
Okay. Any advocate? Okay, first of all, the first rule of my session is that the lecture must be interactive. Okay, then only you will understand the things. If I go monotonous, then you will not understand anything. Any advocate, what is law? And where it is mentioned under the Indian law? Right or wrong doesn't matter, but say something. No one? So what are you doing? Okay, some of the students say that it's a rules, it's a regulation. You know that under the Indian law, specifically the law of the land, the Constitution of India, Article 13, which talks about the law, which defines law, which says that the law includes rules, regulation, bylaws, notification, ordinance, etc. It means that when the Constitution says, listen very carefully, when the Constitution says the law include bylaws, rules, regulation, notification, ordinance, it means that each and every word they have their own identity. Yes or no? So when you say the law means rules and regulation, it means that there must be a difference between the rules versus regulation. Yes or no? Yes. Then what is the difference? Generally we use the word law, but what kind of law you are talking about it? Whether you are talking about the rule, whether you are talking about the ordinance, whether you are talking about the bylaws. Now listen very carefully, why these councils, the senior councils, they are charging 40 lakhs, 30 lakh rupees for their arguments. Because they know how to interpret the sentence, how to interpret the provisions, how to interpret the procedure. And that is the reason why they are charging 30-40 lakh rupees. This is not the cup of tea for the advocates to just read the bare act and understand the law. Here even the punctuation marks matters a lot. 2 years back, in one of the case before the Supreme Court, and the case was relating to not the story, not the facts, but the case relating to a single comma. And because of such single comma, the party lost 200 rupees crore, 200 crore rupees because of the single comma. So we need to understand what is law. So quickly, within a 4 to 5 minutes, I will cover up what is law, then we will go for the provision and the procedures. Okay, if I directly jump onto the provision and the procedure, then you will not understand anything. If I ask you what is the general law versus special law, maybe some of the advocates and the students, they are aware about it. The special law, these are called as the special. But why that act is called as a special law? Why this particular law is called as a general law? That we need to understand. And apart from that, we need to understand what is substantive law and what is procedural law. Because today we are going to deal with that only. The substantive law and the procedural law. Okay? Okay. So when I say law, which includes ordinance, can you tell me who framed the ordinance?
Governor.
Which body? Which executive authority? We have the executive prime minister, council of minister, governor, CM, council of minister of the state. So which body who framed the ordinance?
The president in the case of the center and governor in the case of state.
So it means that there is no need of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. If the president and the governor of the state, they are framing the law, then why they are framing the ordinance? Very good, very close. Whenever there is an emergency like a situation, you know that how we pass the bill, and it takes a long time. Sometimes 1 year, 2 years, sometimes 20 years, 30 years as well. Okay, so during an emergency like a situation, say like a COVID, if a prime minister says that tomorrow onwards we have a lockdown in our state or in our country, so during this period we need some emergency law. Then here the president come into the picture. He framed the ordinance. Later on, if the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha decides to convert that ordinance into the act, they can convert it. But by the time it is called as a ordinance, but it is also a law. Clear? Who framed the rules? Who framed the rules? Rules are framed by the ministry. Who framed the rules? Rules are framed by the ministry. You know, you might have heard about the Companies Act 1956. Under the Companies Act 1956, you will come across section rules as well as the regulation. Who framed that rules? Rules were framed by the Ministry of the Corporate Affairs. Okay, so please remember, in short, the rules are framed by the ministry. Then who framed the regulations? Regulations framed by the body which is outside ministry. Example, ONGC, RBI. It is not in ministry, but it is a body which is outside ministry. In the case of this, we can say the company law, that is the Companies Act, the regulation framed by the Company Law Board. Are you getting my point? So rules framed by the ministry, regulations framed by the body which is outside ministry. Who framed the bylaws? Who framed the bylaws? Now we know who framed the ordinance, who framed the rules, who framed the regulation. Now who framed the bylaws? Bylaws framed by the independent authority, recognized authority. Company registered under the Companies Act. Okay, any society registered under the Society Registration Act. They frame their own bylaws. आपको हमारे bylaws की तरह चलना पड़ेगा. अगर if you stay here maybe beyond 9 o'clock, then this will be punishment for you. खुद के बायलॉज होते हैं, इतने आज आपको काम करना पड़ेगा, नहीं करोगे तो आपका पगार कट होगा. Okay, bylaws. So here we have the NGO, wonderful NGO. They must be having their own bylaws, right? So it is nothing but bylaws framed by the independent authority, but it must be registered. Okay, and after that it is called as a notification. Who notified all these things? Have you seen the actual copy of that BNS Act? What is the full form of BNS? Bharatiya. Okay. So, have you seen the actual copy of this BNS? Official Gazette emblem. This is called as a notification. This is the actual BAR. And whatever we are purchasing from the market, they are just a publisher, the professional, universal. They are publishing the actual Gazette copy. Sometimes you will find out the mistakes in that BAR, but you will not find out the mistakes in the official Gazette. And this is called as a notification. And after that, it comes the act framed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Okay. Now we'll come to this. You want to listen one story before that? Sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay. M, you all are comfortable with English, right?
Yes.
M is one of the city which fall under country I. City under I. I is nothing but the name of the country. Okay. And this country is very beautiful, the peaceful, one of the peaceful country in the world. And by profession, chemical engineer. What is his profession? Chemical engineer. Okay. He joined one organization. Okay. And this organization mislead and brainwash his mind. Maybe you have to do this thing, that thing, then you will get a justice and all these things. And this organization main aim and the mission was to threat the unity and the integrity of I, as well as the sovereignty. Now here I am using some words. These are the jargon words. Unity, security and sovereignty. What is sovereignty?
So the supreme power of the state.
Supreme. Okay. Or sovereign means any other student?
Independent.
We have our own we have our own cost.
Excellent. Sovereignty basically means the independent country. We are not depending upon any other country. So if you feel like to acquire any other territory, we can acquire at any time. We do not need any other country's permission for that. Okay. So here this organization one of the main mission was to threat the unity and the security of I country. Okay. After that, now listen very carefully. Any questions over here? Any doubts over here? Now this organization, they form three teams. So team number 1, team 2 and team 3. The first team, they will look after the planning and the preparation of biological and chemical weapons. What is biological weapon? Excellent. COVID like a virus, bacteria spreading and all this thing. So this is nothing but the biological, or the chemical means RDX. Okay. So this chemical to prepare and make the plan for the biological and chemical weapons. Second team. This team will look after to destroy the defense system of that particular country, to plan according to that. And the third team will look after to spread and circulate the fake currencies, that is the counterfeit currencies in the country. Now look at these three things. The first one, biological and the chemical weapon. Second, defense. And third one, fake currency. You know that to run any sovereign country, you basically requires all these three components. If you miss out the single component, it means your sovereignty gone. Are you getting my point? Okay. So here you require a defense. Here you require an economy. At the same time, you must have some kind of security apart from the defense. Some intelligence. That only you will come. Now suppose if someone's plot a bomb और आपको पता ही नहीं है कि उसको सॉल्व कैसे करना है, प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा, पड़ जाएगा वो. Okay, so you need some intelligence for that. So this first one, second one and third one. So this team decided that we'll plan accordingly and we'll decide one date, and on that day we'll go ahead with these three plans. So they decide a particular day, and on that day this team, they install a chemical weapon in one of the bus. जहां पे बिजी रश वगैरह होता है वहां पे उन्होंने वो इंस्टॉल कर दिया. Second team, they prepared and plan according to that how they will attack on the defense, specifically a naval. Mumbai like a city, naval गया, सब कुछ गया. Okay. And third one, fake currencies. Now just imagine if any city or the country, if they lost these two things, what will come? Currency, deficiency of the currency. पैसा ही नहीं है मार्केट में, अब पैसा आएगा कहां से? ये फेक करेंसी बांटो, उनका इकोनॉमी गिर जाएगा. ऑल ऑफ सडन विद इन 1 week दैट पर्टिकुलर कंट्री पूरा उसका इकोनॉमी हिल जाएगा. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? नाउ they install, they decided the date and they plot the bomb as well. But what happened? The bomb failed. Some malfunctions happened with that bomb and minor injuries happened to the people. Because of this, the second plan also failed because they were depend upon the first plan. First plan fail हो गया, second भी fail हो गया, third भी automatically fail हो जाता है. Listen very carefully. Now here, the government decide to give this investigation power to one of the SP, Superintendent of Police, who will investigate the matter. Now, after a normal inquiry and investigation, listen and mark my word very carefully. What I am saying, inquiry, there is a difference between enquiry and inquiry. Enquiry means पूछताछ, inquiry means investigation. So they appoint one of the SP to inquire into the matter, and after the due investigation, the SP discovered that it was a terror attack. कौन सा अटैक है? टेरर अटैक है. But to further investigate, the SP requires some other bodies as well. So with the SP, intelligent agency joined the hands. And when the SP and the intelligence agency, they discover the things and investigate the thing, that time they came to know that there is one area, say Antop Hill, where this organization training these members. Not only that, there is one of the local businessmen who is actually giving a shelter to A. So they caught all these person, they raided the training camp and all these things. Now the story stops here. Okay. Definitely sometimes the curiosity comes in our mind कि आगे क्या होगा सर, ये तो यहाँ पे खत्म हो गया, इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो एजेंसी से उन्होंने ले लिया, बट प्रोसीजर क्या होगा, कैसे होगा? The first of all, we need to understand the word terrorism. What is terrorism? When I say and when I use the word terrorism, what comes in your mind? Tell me.
Fear.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल टेल मी, स्टोरी समझ में आई सबको? ध्यान में रखना, क्योंकि ये पूरे स्टोरी पे ही ये है. अगर स्टोरी समझ में आए तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आएगा. ओके, सो जस्ट रिमेंबर एंड कीप दिस स्टोरी इन योर माइंड. व्हाट इज टेररिज्म?
Sir, a threat to society at large.
Okay, any other student or advocate, what is terrorism? Now I will tell you the beauty of law, how to read the law with this single word terminology. Why the councils are charging 25 lakh rupees and why the advocates are charging 2000 rupees? The difference you will come to know about it through this single word terrorism. Anyone? Any advocate? Yes, right or wrong doesn't matter, but say something.
Fear about it.
Fear among people, or
Part of hybrid warfare.
okay. Now you all are telling me what the terrorism includes. It creates a threat, the fear. Okay, but what is terrorism? The word terror is actually derived from the Latin phrase terror. Okay, and terror means is basically इसका terror है, इस प्रोफेसर का terror है, या इस जज का terror है. अब जज का नाम नहीं लूंगा, बट इस जज का terror है. मीन्स क्या है? फियर है, थ्रेट है. नो, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग? चलो ये समझ में आएगा, टेरर. बट व्हाट इज दिस इज्म? ISM. व्हाट इज इज्म? कभी सोचा ये? सेक्युलरिज्म, socialism, racism. What is this ism? This is a common word.
It's a continuous process.
Okay. Okay. One more rule for the or we can say one more mantra for the law student as well as for the advocates. Whenever we are saying something or whenever we are arguing something, you must have some background for that. You must have some evidences for that. You must have some witnesses for that. हवे में गोली नहीं चलता है. When you are saying this is called as a maybe the continuation of the particular thing, what is the proof you have by saying this? Where it mention? Show me. Judge पूछेगा क्या करोगे फिर? अरे नहीं है. You must have something with you, right? So what is ism? Ism is nothing but the ideology. The word ism is nothing but an ideology. So this threatening to threat someone, this is nothing but an ideology of this particular group. Secularism is nothing but the ideology. Constitutionalism is nothing but the ideology behind how we drafted the constitution. So this is nothing but the ideology, and this ideology we called it as a terrorism. Same thing, apart from this terrorism, one more word, so that you will get a better understanding how the interpretation plays a very important role. चलिए ये तो बहुत सिंपल है, ये तो आपको आना ही चाहिए. Why I am telling all this word? Because then only you will understand the law, the role of new laws in a better way, because it's a new law, na? So you need to understand first of all this particular the common things. Contract. What is contract?
Sir, an agreement between two parties enforceable by law.
ये तो बैरट का definition है. Okay, now listen. It derived from the Latin phrase, two phrases, cont and second tract. Cont means contact. When we use the word contact, suppose, just assume that you purchase a new cell phone. As soon as you purchase a new phone, can you say that I have a contact list? Yes or no? नहीं ना, क्योंकि मैंने कुछ भी enter किया ही नहीं है. So when you will say that I have a contact list, when you enter two or more persons' name, two means one is actually you, and second one, the whose name you are entering into the contact list. So two or more persons, so it is called as a contact. Okay. Tract means, it's a Latin phrase, agreement. Now look at this definition. When we say the agreement between two or more persons enforceable by law, it's a contract. It's hidden in this word only, contact. Okay, agreement. So it means the agreement between two or more persons. This is the way we have to read the law. Then you are eligible to charge 20 lakh rupees. Same thing. Okay, now this is very easy for you. History, IPC history, CRPC history, evidence history. What is history? बचपन में जब भी हम लोगों को स्टोरी सुनना था तो हम क्या करते कि मम्मी पापा क्या बोलते थे, रानी की कहानी सुननी है कि राजा की कहानी सुननी है. बेसिकली दिस वर्ड, आई एम वेरी मच फ्रैंक विथ यू, एक कहा जाता कि राजा की कहानी सुननी है, मेल डोमिनेटिंग है. हिज स्टोरी, ये है हिस्ट्री. ओके, ठीक है, लेट इट बी. नाउ coming back to the word terrorism, this is nothing but the one kind of ideology. And what is an ideology? To create a threat, to create a fear in the mind of the other person. This is an ideology, and this ideology we called it as the terrorism. Very much clear to you? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, now if you look at this slide too. Little bit so. Okay, show me this part only, the first one. ये वाला बताना zoom करके. Okay, now the confusion with us is that, sir, we know the BNS as well as specifically our lecture is dealing with the terrorism and organized crime. Okay, so my lecture is limited to that only. Terrorism, as per the BNS section 113, deals with that. Okay, and at the same time we have one more act which deals with the terrorism. Which one? लेक्चर लेने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, आपको सब पता है. What is the full form of UAPA? Unlawful Activities and Prevention Act. Came into the force in which year?
1967.
Very good. सच में लेक्चर लेने की जरूरत नहीं है, सब पता है आपको. Okay, so we have two acts dealing with the same content, and that content is nothing but a terrorism. The definition which provided under the BNS is nothing but the mirror image of the UAPA. सेम उठाया वहां से यहां पे कॉपी पेस्ट किया है. कभी सोचा इसकी जरूरत क्यों पड़ी, कॉपी पेस्ट क्यों किया गया? एंड व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द BNS वर्सेस UAPA? एनीवन? वेरी गुड, अरे सब पता है आपको. ठीक है, चलो कोई बात नहीं. विल स्टार्ट विद दिस वर्ड, विल कम टू दैट. इंटेंट टू थ्रेटन और क्रिएट अ फियर with respect to unity, integrity, sovereignty, security or economic stability. This is what the section 113 of BNS Act talks about it. And after that it says that but through, ये कैसे होगा, ये fear जो threatening है वो कैसे आप करोगे? Using dangerous weapons or substance like a bomb, firearms, poisonous gas which lead to death, injury, blah 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 blah. This is the common. ये तो आप पढ़ भी लोगे तो भी समझ में आएगा. But what you will not understand is that you can you go to the third slide? Terrorist Act. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द स्टोरी. जो भी कुछ हुआ वहां पे, एम सिटी, आई कंट्री, ए ऑर्गेनाइजेशन with the mission to threaten the unity and the security of the country. This terrorist act, this is an offense affecting the human body, offense against the state, offense against the security of India, or offense against the unity of India.
Offense against it.
Okay, can you tell me how many of you are offense affecting a human body? Okay, how many of you saying offense against the state? Yes, all, almost all. Okay, you know the correct answer? जो सोचा ही नहीं हम लोगों ने. Answer 1 first. You have the BNS Act with you right now. If you are having a BNS Act, if a soft copy, then you will come to know that this section 113 fall under offense affecting human body. But what we think? This is an offense again. They're absolutely right. Now the question comes in your mind कि sir, फिर BNS Act ये actually है ही क्यों? Because when we say the terrorist act, yes, am I right? देखो ह्यूमन बीइंग है, गलती हो सकता है. Okay, so when we say the terrorist is offense against the state, you are absolutely right, it is against the state only. But apart from that, those who are framing the laws, they are also intelligent. दिमाग है उनके पास भी, कुछ समझ के ही लॉ बनाया होगा. Basically, you tell me, whenever the terrorist activities happened, सबसे पहले क्या होता है? The first thing चेक किया, क्रॉस चेक किया किसी ने? Fall under human body. सबसे पहले क्या होता है? Whenever the terrorist act happens, लोग मरते हैं ना. क्या हुआ? ओके, पूरे कंट्री के ऊपर किया तो देन विल से द ऑफेंस अगेंस्ट स्टेट. अब यहां पे क्या हुआ? छोटा सा पार्ट ले लिया, बट वहां पे एक्टिविटी हो गया. ह्यूमन बॉडी, इंटेलिजेंस, दे नोस कि वेयर टू फ्रेम दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोविजन, एंड दे डिसाइडेड दैट विल फ्रेम दिस प्रोविजन अंडर द चैप्टर कॉल्ड ऑफेंस अफेक्टिंग ह्यूमन बॉडी. इट्स वेरी क्लियर टू यू ऑल? ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट वन. When we are talking about the general law and the special law, अब उसके ऊपर थोड़ा आते हैं. What is the difference between the general law and the special law? General law versus special law. Yes. Okay. You understood this part of the story? ये पार्ट समझ में आया, ये पार्ट समझ में आया. Now we are dealing with this part, SP वाला part, SP onwards वाला part. What is the difference between special law versus general law?
Sir, general law is example, this is contract, it's a general law. And special law is IPC, CRPC, random, the special law.
Sir, SP is the general police and CBI is the specialized.
Any advocate?
Domestic violence act, special law, BNS, general law.
Special marriages act.
Very good.
And, special.
Okay, before that, okay, I understood what you want to say. Yes, madam.
An act which is particularly enacted for dealing with certain activity, like or a particular community, is called a special act, and general act covers like provisions for which are govern all people.
Okay, next 15 to 20 minutes. Please listen my words very carefully and please mark my words. Okay. Next 15 to 20 minutes में जो भी बताने वाला हूँ ना, challenge वैसे जाके हाई कोर्ट में या सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इंटरप्रेट करो, हारोगे नहीं कभी, ठीक है. नाउ हियर द स्पेशल लॉ वर्सेस जनरल लॉ, एंड सेकेंड कॉन्सेप्ट इज कॉल्ड एज अ substantive law versus procedural law. What is substantive law?
That informs about the offense and procedural is like CRPC, the procedure.
Substantive laws are those laws which create, which defines a particular thing. Just like he rightly said that. I am talking about the old IPC, murder. Which section deals with the murder? 302? You all are wrong. बचपन से तो मूवी देख के आ रहे हैं. 302 की दफा इसे फांसी की सजा होती है, सुनाई जाती है. So 302 deals with the punishment for murder. 300 deals with the punishment. Are you getting my point? ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. So the IPC talks about, it defines, it create. But what we have to do if anything happens, murder happened, kidnapping happens, then we have the procedural law. So this procedural law follows the substantive law. This is the difference between substantive law versus procedural law. Okay. Now coming back to the special law versus general law. Special law and general law. Old IPC again. To just gain an idea about this. Old IPC, you will not find out the section deals with the cyber crime. Specifically, उसके बाद amendment होने के बाद आया था clause. But they only mention about the e-commerce or e-activities, something like that. But to continue with that provision, which act we have to refer?
Information Technology Act.
Excellent. Information and the Technology Act. So IPC is nothing but the general law, and Information and Technology Act is nothing but the special law. In case of this, when we talked about the terrorism, BNS is nothing but the general law and UAPA is nothing but the special law. Now suppose the contradict happened with these two laws. अब आ गया contradiction. यहाँ पे कुछ provision है, वहाँ पे कुछ provision है. Which law will prevail? Are you sure? Sure. Why? Right answer. But why?
Because that act is enacted only for that particular purpose. No? अगर कुछ act, just for example, let's assume Information Act.
Okay, you are arguing before the court and you are saying that because we have the special law for this particular concept only, then the judge will ask, but why? Provide me the evidences. Whether you have some supporting documents, whatever you are arguing before the court, then what you will say? क्या बोलोगे? Yes.
When two things conflict together, it depends about case to case. When two things conflict, then whatever the specific thing gives a correct meaning and supports that case and resolves the problem, then that thing is considered.
But then you have some supporting documents. What you are saying is true.
Supporting document related to what I am saying.
Where it mentioned? But where it mentioned? Now listen. That is the reason I am telling that the next now 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Listen and mark my word very carefully. Under the UAPA Act, you have the UAPA Act with you right now. You have the cell phones with you. Just do one thing. Okay? Google UAPA PDF and just download that act. Practically देखते हैं ना ऐसे क्यों होता है. Just download UAPA Act PDF. हैव यू डाउनलोडेड? ओके, वहां पे सर्च ऑप्शन है, एट के अंदर ही आपको सर्च करना है. जस्ट टाइप दिस वर्ड, नॉट विथ स्टैंडिंग टुगेदर, गैप नहीं देना है, नॉट विथ स्टैंडिंग. Now this word will appear in UAPA Act 19 times. है 19 लिखा हुआ है बाजू में, लिखा हुआ है 19 times. What is this notwithstanding? This is called as a non-obstacle clause. And what is a non-obstacle clause? Listen very carefully. What is non-obstacle clause? Whenever you find out such kind of words in the barrack, notwithstanding anything contained under this act, whenever you find out such kind of words, it means that that particular section which have the overriding effect over the any other laws in India. You have to read this particular sentence very carefully. It may be notwithstanding anything contained in this section, notwithstanding anything contained in this act. The words differed with the section. But whenever you find out this kind of word, it is called as a non-obstacle clause. It means ये section के लिए कोई obstacle है ही नहीं, ये सब के ऊपर रूल करेगा. And this word you will find out 19 times in the UAPA, which means that this UAPA, now when you say that why the special law will prevail over the general law, उसका रीजन ये है नॉन ऑब्स्टेकल क्लॉज 19 टाइम्स. उन्होंने ऑलरेडी लॉ में बोला है, लॉ मेकर्स ने, कि जो भी लॉ है, वॉट एवर इट मे बी द लॉ, will prevail over the general law. This UAPA will prevail over the general law. Is that clear with you all? This is called as a non-obstante clause. Please listen very carefully. At the same time, now listen very carefully again. This is the difference between basically the special law and the general law. Why the special law will prevail over the general law? ये तो समझ में आया, because of the non-obstante clause. Sometimes while reading the UAPA, you will come across the word proviso. What does it mean? These are the important words which tell you the difference between the general law and the special law. This word, anyhow, you will find out the general laws as well, notwithstanding, the proviso. Proviso means provided with. Okay, exception, or what else? Conditions. Very good. Okay. Whenever you come across such kind of word, okay, proviso or the provided that, please remember that the lawmakers, either they wants to create an exception, second they wants to create a condition, and third one, they wants to create some new thing which is not mentioned in the section. Are you getting my point? So whenever you come across such kind of word, again I am repeating, provided that, and if the continuing para is there, आप ड्राफ्ट तो करते हो ना एडवोकेट्स में, provided that तो यूज करते हो ना, provided that, if continuing para is there, then provided further that. देखना आप जितने भी इंडियन बैरक्स है, यूएपीए है, बीएनएस एक्ट है, you will find out this word, provided that. Immediate para is that, provided also that. And if immediate para is that first of all provided that, provided further that, and provided also that. These are the technical words. Provided that, provided further that, and provided also that. Even after that provided also that, one more para is there. Then provided also that continues. ये वर्ड कंटिन्यू होता है. अब सर्च कर लेना यूएपीए में कहाँ पे ऐसा ऐसा है. then you will come to know about it. And that is the reason why the special law will prevail over the general law. The one basic idea is that because it's dealing with that particular specific act in detail, जो BNS में नहीं, BNS में सिर्फ बता दिया ये टेररिज्म है. सो लॉ मेकर को जरूरत क्यों पड़ी कि वो तो यूएपीए में भी अमेंडमेंट कर सकते थे ना, बीएनएस में क्यों डाला? व्हाई? एनीवन? देखो, if I ask this question that how many of you are aware about the IPC, यहाँ पे ऐसा कोई नहीं रहेगा जिसको पता नहीं है कि आईपीसी क्या है, इंडियन पिनल कोड. If I ask you any other law, say if I say unlawful activities prevention, there might be some of the students, they are hearing this act for the first time. ऐसे है. आईपीसी ये जनरल है, जनरल नोशन है, पता है ये ऐसे है, जनरल लॉ है, सबको पता है. To know why we are framing the law, to secure the citizens. अब सिटीजन्स को ही समझने वाला लॉ नहीं बनाया तो लॉ ही क्या बनाया हम लोगों ने. So that is the reason why they have mentioned this particular concept in BNS law as well. And after that, it's advocate's duty. It's a legal practitioner's duty to expand this particular concept of the terrorism. Understood? Any questions, any doubt? अब तो कुछ है? Okay. Now, coming back to the story, SP. The law says that UAPA as well as BNS, once they comes to know about that it's a terrorist act, then it is upon the superintendent of police to decide under which law they have to register the case. अब यहाँ पे कंफ्यूजन है, BNS में करना है कि UAPA में करना है. The law is not clear. This is the gap right now which we are facing in India. हो सकता है सुपरिटेंडेंट ऑफ पुलिस एसपी बोले कि मुझे दोनों में नहीं करना है, वो बोलेगा मुझे बस बीएनएस में कर रहा है, तो कोर्ट बोलेगा यूएपीए में क्यों नहीं किया. Are you getting my point? So this is the gap we need to find out. There is no specific, there is no general law which deals with this. अब ये तभी होगा क्लेरिफाई when the Supreme Court come up with the judgment, when there's a particular thing. But one common thing is that BNS only deals with the terrorism, but the long and the detailed part of the terrorism fall under the UAPA. So majority of them will go for the UAPA only. Why UAPA? Because the UAPA, which defines the terrorism, it also talks about the other things as well. Are you getting my point? Okay. Apart from the SP, the UAPA says that we must have the investigation agency, the involvement of the investigation agency. BNS does not talks about that. So it means that the wider scope is given under the UAPA Act and not under the BNS. So UAPA is more powerful than the BNS. Is that clear? Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So this is just for your information. The offenses under the BNS and offenses under the UAPA. So section 113, clause 3, the clause 5, 6, 7 and 18, 20, 19, 21, this is nothing but the replica. Okay, it's a mirror image of the UAPA mentioned under the BNS Act. Same as it is, कुछ changes नहीं है. But there are some exceptions to this. Can you go to the next slide? This one. Section 45, section 36 and 37. Under the UAPA Act, you will not find out the word notwithstanding under these sections. तो यहाँ पे फ्रीडम दिया गया है. पहले क्या होता था, जो भी टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटी है, किसी को अरेस्ट किया जाता था, तो उसके बाद कुछ सेफगार्ड्स होते थे उसके लिए. सेफगार्ड्स मतलब कैसे होते थे? इफ यू वांट टू appear before the court, then you have to take the permission from the state government. BNS में वो है नहीं, ओके, इसमें है 45 में. अब यहाँ पे कोर्ट डिसाइड कर सकता है, बिकॉज व्हेन यू से यू हैव टू टेक द परमिशन फ्रॉम द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, बायसनेस आ सकता है. So to remove this, for that matter, we have the BNS, and not only that, the Supreme Court also said that the both UAPA law as well as the BNS will continue to force. Whenever they find out the gaps, they will look after this act, UAPA as well as the BNS. जहाँ पे गैप फिल होता है वो ले लेंगे. सो यहाँ पे लगा 45, नहीं लेना है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट बोलेगा बिंदास, BNS, follow the BNS. Is that clear? Can you go to the next slide? So go to the first slide. Second. The student, those who are sitting over here, as well as the advocate, those who are sitting over here. Can you close this one? If you look at the section 113, it's a one-page section. बहुत लंबा है. एक फर्स्ट क्लॉज पढ़ोगे बोर हो जाओगे कि क्या करना है आगे. दिस सेक्शन 113, द होल सेक्शन, थोड़ा zoom, पूरा नहीं, आई वॉन्ट द होल PPT. हाँ, this is the clause 1. Now what to remember? Intend to threaten and create a fear through using dangerous weapon. If they use the dangerous weapon, then what will happen? Death or injury, damage to property, essential goods and the services, then harming the Indians currency or the economy. वहां पे देखा हम लोगों ने. Okay, destroying the defense property. Apart from that, little bit, सर जी नीचे जाना है, वैसे रखो उसे. हाँ, अटैकिंग पब्लिक ऑफिशियल्स एंड किडनैपिंग एंड अबडक्टिंग पीपल. नहीं, आप ये सोचोगी सी सर टेररिज्म में ये किडनैपिंग अबडक्टिंग कैसे आ गया? हाउ इट फॉल अंडर द BNS and how it fall under the terrorism specifically? Anyone?
Because they might abduct or kidnap important people of your country.
Excellent. वीरप्पा मोइली पता है, किसी मिनिस्टर को ले लिया, किडनैप कर दिया, दो नहीं तो सबको मार देंगे, या तो ये करेंगे वो करेंगे. It means it is nothing but the threatening to the unity and the security of India. Got it? So this is nothing but the clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 1 talks about what is basically the terrorism and what will happen if these things happen. Okay? Clause 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It talks about the punishment only. A punishment क्या है? The punishment for committing a terrorist act. If act causes a someone's death, what is the punishment? एक तो death होगा या तो life imprisonment होगा और fine. Now how much we have to impose? They have not mentioned it. It is the discretionary power of the courts to decide. Okay. Second, if no death but act is serious. मैंने उस एग्जाम्पल में बताया था, बॉम्ब उन्होंने प्लॉट कर दिया, बॉम्ब फटा ही नहीं, बट माइनर इंजरीज हो गए, किसी का डेथ तो नहीं हुआ है बट ऑफेंस सीरियस है, देन इन दिस केस मिनिमम 5 years एंड मैक्सिमम लाइफ इम्प्रिजनमेंट. आई विल बेट यू दैट इफ यू ड्रॉ दिस चार्ट इन योर एग्जामिनेशन, अगर पेपर में आता है ना, कोई आपका मार्क कट नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि इसके बाहर ये सेक्शन है ही नहीं. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, the second one, the punishment for helping, planning or encouraging terrorist act. यहाँ पे किसने encourage किया था, हेल्प किसने किया था? लोकल बिजनेसमैन, yes, which include facilitating preparation, advice, abate minimum 5 years, maximum life and the fine. ये पनिशमेंट है उसके लिए. नेक्स्ट वन, ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टेररिस्ट ट्रेनिंग रिक्रूटमेंट, देखा हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे. अब उसके लिए कितना है? मिनिमम 5 years, मैक्सिमम लाइफ एंड द फाइन. नेक्स्ट, बीइंग अ मेंबर ऑफ द टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. अगर इसके अंदर मान लेते हैं 50 मेंबर्स है और 50 मेंबर्स में 10 मेंबर्स ऐसे जस्ट मेंबर है, बाकी कुछ लेन देन नहीं है उनका, जस्ट मेंबर है, देन they will impose this one, life and fine. मतलब imprisonment which may extend up to life imprisonment or fine. Next one, helping hiding a terrorist, minimum 3 years, maximum life. Now here there is one exception which is mentioned under the UAPA and as well as under the BNS. If a person hiding a स्पाउस, वाइफ और हस्बैंड को हाइड कर रहा है, मतलब हस्बैंड अब वाइफ टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटीज में इन्वॉल्व है, मैंने उसको हाइड कर दिया, दिस लॉ इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल. बट कौन सा लॉ एप्लीकेबल होगा वो भी नहीं बताया यहाँ पर. ओके, और लेट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट विल डिसाइड विच लॉ विल अप्लाइज होगा ये. ओके, सो हियर द लॉ इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल in the case of spouse. And the last one, possessing property obtained from the terrorist act. मतलब टेररिस्ट ने कुछ एक्टिविटी कर दी और उससे कुछ प्रॉपर्टी गेन कर दी, अब वो प्रॉपर्टी किसी ने वो परचेस कर ली, तो क्या होगा? मिनिमम दैट इज विच विल गो अप टू द लाइफ imprisonment and fine. So this is whole section 113. Okay, next one. Now I will not take your more than 10 minutes. So just be relaxed. Download किया है? Yeah, that PDF. Okay. ऊपर वाला. Yes. Now tell me, which law will prevail? Central law versus specific law. Central law means I am talking about the general law. Central law, special law, both, or the Supreme Court? General law versus specific law. Which law will prevail? General law, special law, both, or Supreme Court? JMFC में आएगा MCQ में, क्या करोगे? Which law will prevail? Tell me. Listen very carefully. Which law will prevail? General law, special law, both, दोनों, या तो Supreme Court? ओके, हमने फिर से सुप्रीम कोर्ट. वाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट? वाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट?
Because it is the apex code and also some.
You mean to say that the apex code is above the Constitution of India?
But there are certain.
What is the role of the Supreme Court? To deliver the justice, to interpret the law and to deliver the justice. What they are going to interpret? Law they are going to interpret. They have to follow the law. They cannot go beyond the law. So they have to follow the special law. So which law will prevail? ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस आते हैं एग्जाम्स में, जहां पे लगता है नहीं सुप्रीम कोर्ट आंसर होगा, बट प्लीज कीप इन योर माइंड द सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्या करता है. व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट? To deliver the justice. Many of them say that they interpret the law, but the main aim, that interpretation, it is nothing but the means to achieve that goal. What is the goal? To deliver the justice. Very clear to you all? Special law will prevail. Next slide. Non-obstantive law we have already discussed. Okay. If you want this PPT, they will share with you. Okay. Next one. Okay. Section 111. Any questions on terrorism? Any questions on terrorism? Okay. चलो. Now next 5 minutes. Listen very carefully. उसके बाद miscellaneous things. Terrorism. The definition of terrorism. What is organized crime? The definition. We are reading the definition then and now. But how to read the definition? You know that? How to read the definition? Definition read कैसे करोगे? सोचा है कभी? How to read the definition? Which section of any Indian law deals with the definition? Exception law है कोई? जो आंसर देगा मेरी ओर से एक बुक गिफ्ट मिलेगा जो मार्केट में अवेलेबल नहीं है बट मेरे पास है. एक्सलेंट. क्लैप क्लैप. जनरल क्लॉजेज एक्ट नहीं मिलेगा. जनरल क्लॉजेज एक्ट ये ऐसा एक्ट है जो ब्रिटिशर्स ने बनाया था, बट ऑब्वियसली जो सेक्शन 2 डेफिनेशन से डील नहीं करता. जहाँ वहाँ पे 3 में डेफिनेशंस आते हैं, बट इंडियन लॉ में सब में 2 में डेफिनेशंस आते हैं. बट नाउ द ब्यूटी इज दैट हाउ टू रीड द डेफिनेशन एंड व्हाई द क्लॉज दैट सेक्शन 2 इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लिसन वेरी केयरफुली. If you don't generally this is what I have witnessed the advocates as well as the students. Nowadays, in law institution and the education institution with respect to the legal, they do not give the importance to the section 2. They directly jump onto the section 3. Now tell me, without understanding the concept behind a particular word, how can you understand the section 3, 4, 5, 6? Section 2, they will talk you about contract. Okay, example section 2 contract. अब वही word section 3 में आता है. Without knowing that what is contract, section 3 क्या समझ में आएगा आपको? Are you getting my point? Okay, so if you don't know the terrorism and if you are reading the section and in that section they are talking about the terrorism, what is the meaning? Okay, that is the reason my definition is very, very important. But there is a skill, there is one technique to read this definition. This you will find out this as well. Organized crime. There are 3 kinds of definition. This is the universal law. Whether you are in India, practicing in India, or you are practicing in UK, USA, anywhere in the world, they follow this rule. First rule, where the definition start with the word means. Second, where the definition start with the word includes. And third one, where the definition start with the word means and meanwhile they mention the word includes as well. Okay, अब सेक्शन कोई भी सेक्शन देख लो, आपके पास जो भी बैरक्ट होगा ना अभी बुक में बैग में ओपन करके देख लेना. सेक्शन 2 या तो मीन से स्टार्ट होगा या तो इंक्लूड से होगा या तो मीन्स और द इंक्लूड. नाउ द इंटरप्रिटेशन चेंजेस ओवर हियर. यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम. वी हैव ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम सिंडिकेट. द डेफिनेशन इन एक्सप्लेनेशन. ओके, so whenever the definition start with the word means, it means that the definition is restrictive in nature. Restrictive in nature means if I say H2O means सबको पता है यहाँ पे. इफ आई रिमूव ओ, वाटर कहोगे इसे? Restrictive in nature. As it is, you cannot go beyond that definition. Advocates, if you are going beyond the words, whenever the definition start with the word means, it means that your interpretation is not perfect. Because here they are already defined H2O, बस H2O को beyond you cannot think about it. और कोई दूसरा फॉर्मूला अगर मैंने यहाँ पे डाल दिया H2OS, वाटर है ये, it means you are changing the meaning of that particular definition. So it means restrictive in nature. Within the four wall, includes expansion. Now here you can go beyond the definition. So you can break the four walls. So whenever you find out the word specifically, the family law, the IPC, BNS, person includes and name of the person. Now here this definition is not limited. Here you can go beyond this definition. Are you getting my point? So includes expansion, and whenever there is a word start with the word means and meanwhile includes, again such kind of definitions are restrictive in nature, because उसको जो इंक्लूड करना है उसने इंक्लूड भी कर दिया, जिसको उसको जो मीन करना है वो भी कर दिया. That is the reason why such kind of definitions are restrictive in nature. Now organized crime. When we talked about the organized crime, and in para we have several state legislative acts. थोड़ा 5 to 10 minutes, थोड़ा हो सकता है बर्डन हो सकता है, थोड़ा हेवी हो सकता है, हेवीनेस हो सकता है यहाँ पे, बिकॉज पहले तो हम लोगों ने स्पेशल और जनरल लॉज देख लिए. यहाँ पे स्पेशल और जनरल लॉज नहीं है, यहाँ पे है सेंट्रल लॉ वर्सेस स्टेट लॉ. यहाँ पे चेंज हो रहा है. पहले 111, 112 स्टेट लॉ वर्सेस सेंट्रल लॉ, and 113 special law versus general law. ऐसा है. This is the beauty of law. Okay. When we talked about the organized crime in Maharashtra, we have which law? Makoka. Okay. Makoka is also applicable in Delhi. वहां पे भी एप्लीकेबल होता है. गुजरात का खुद का उनका लॉ है फॉर ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम. So hardly there are some of the state like say Rajasthan, there are some states, Bihar, they have this law relating to the organized crime, but not all the state. So that is the reason why the lawmakers feel that we will include this organized crime under the BNS so that it will applicable to all the states. But still the Makoka is applicable in Maharashtra, considering as a special law in Maharashtra. The extension of the BNS. अपने IPC में अभी तो BNS न्यू है इसलिए ज़्यादा आपको नहीं मिलेगा ये, बट IPC में आपको स्टेट अमेंडमेंट्स मिले होंगे सेक्शन के नीचे. Why? स्टेट वहां पे स्टेट क्यों आया? IPC इंडियन पिनल कोड enacted by the British Parliament. Yes, okay. Later on amended by the Parliament of India, and under that the state amendments are there. State amendment क्यों आया है उसके अंदर? स्टेट ने क्यों अमेंड किया है? Why? And why the Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, they are enacting a law on the subject called crime? वो क्यों लॉ बना रहे हैं? ये तो पार्लियामेंट का काम है, क्राइम के ऊपर लॉ बना है, तो स्टेट क्यों बना रहा है? Why? Excellent. Have you heard about the Schedule 7 of the Constitution of India? Union list, state list and the concurrent list. Concurrent list, item number 1, 2, 3. अगर आपके पास Constitution होगा तो all the 3 items deals with the criminal law. And concurrent list means both state as well as the central, they can frame the law. इसलिए हम लोगों ने वो लॉ बनाया है, एंड बोथ द लॉज आर एप्लीकेबल. and there we can apply. But what if they contradict with each other? Then which law will prevail? Where it mentioned? कहाँ पे? जो भी हुआ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कहाँ पे मेंशन किया? It is called as a doctrine of repugnancy under Article 354 of the Constitution of India. Okay, if there is an overriding effect, then the central law will prevail over the state legislation. But at the same time, we have one more doctrine. It is called as the doctrine of pith and substance. Pith and substance means to maintain the balance between these both the acts. We have one more doctrine. It is called as the doctrine of harmonious construction, to bring the harmony between the two laws. So that is the reason why the Supreme Court is more keen towards the doctrine of harmonious construction. Otherwise क्या होगा? वहां पे ये सरकार है, यहाँ पे ये सरकार है, इसलिए ऐसा हुआ. और सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी बायस है, बोला जाता है, आज भी स्टेटमेंट होता है आजकल. ओके, मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं ये. ओके, सो ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम. Basically, organized crime means when two or more persons they come together and they repeat the act. It is called as a organized crime. And what are organized crime and what it includes, they have already mentioned: the kidnapping, robbery, vehicle theft, extortion, land grabbing, and all this thing. This is nothing but the organized crime. Now, to understand in a better way, in an explanation, you will find out the word organized crime syndicate, and the second word unlawful activity, continuation of the unlawful activity. Organized crime syndicate means when a two or more persons comes together and they commit some act, it is called as a organized crime syndicate. And within a span of 10 years, if they repeat that crime more than once, then it is called as a continuation of the unlawful activities. These are the two important definitions which is mentioned under the explanation, section 113. Is that clear? Next slide. Next slide. ये already हम लोग ने, now we have discussed already. Same as 113. ये कर लोगे 113 पूरा हो जाएगा. This deals with the punishment part, so I am not going into the detail. Same as terrorism, 5 years, life, and 2 lakhs, 1 lakh, 5 lakh rupees fine, and all this thing. 112. It talks about the petty offenses. Petty offenses means छोटा मोटा, small. क्या हो सकता है ये? क्या हो सकता है petty offenses? Huh? Start. Yeah, you are absolutely right. So it means that petty offenses, when you look after these, is theft, then chain snatching, and all these things. These are called as a petty offenses. छोटा मोटा कर दिया. मैं बाहर जा रहा था, जस्ट ये चेंबर के बाहर चला गया, गेट के बाहर पता चला मेरा पॉकेट ही नहीं है. Petty offenses fall under the BNS. Is that clear? Next slide. This is just for your information. As I told you, Makoka, Gujarat, they have their own law with respect to this. Next, doctrine of repugnancy and Schedule 7, union list, state list, and the concurrent list. Any questions? बताने जैसा बहुत कुछ है लेकिन बोर हो जाएगा. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much. Question answers? Any questions?
सरांनी विचारलं अरे मग सगळ्यांनी
हाँ पूछो questions.
अरे क्वेश्चन आन्सर ते स्वतःच बोलले ना.
तू बोल की ज्यांना कोई प्रश्न असेल तर विचारा आज.
सर स्वतः तेच वाक्य बोलले. अरे तुम्हा लोकांना त्याचा तोच अर्थ असतो, ते डबल डबल होत आहे म्हणून मी थांबले. येणार क्वेश्चन.
Terrorism is such an offense which is like affecting the human body.
Hmm.
Still, why it is mentioned the punishment that minimum 3 or 5 years punishment is eligible for the person. He has still not yet reached the level that he is, they are giving 3 years of chance. After that, it makes 10, but still 3 years. So you can unfortunately do it. Why so?
Because of the human rights.
सरांनी स्वतःच विचारलं की
Now I will tell you why. The person who is committing an act of terrorism, sometimes the person who is committing an act does not know what he is doing. Okay, maybe because of the age, maybe minor, maybe the 12 years of the age, but they are brainwashed. ये ऐसे होगा तो ऐसे करना पड़ेगा. Not only that, the recently in the Jammu and Kashmir, they came to the conclusion that अगर इंडिया में सबसे ज़्यादा ड्रग्स जो सप्लाई होता है ना वो जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में होता है. When you feed them with the drugs, what will happen? They will lose their mental stability. As a result of this, whatever the others say, they will follow it. उसके लिए हाँ ये आपको मिलेगा पर ये करना पड़ेगा. Okay, so it means that sometimes they are innocent but they don't know what they are doing it. To save them, to change them. Example, one more, Nirbhaya's gang rape case. One of the accused was minor, but उसको बाद में पता चला ये गंदी चीज है, नहीं करना चाहिए. Because that time they were not aware about that particular thing. But when they came to the majority of the age, that time they came to know about all these things. Are you getting my point? And at the same time, we are answerable to the United Nations as well, which look after the human rights. The human rights believes that no death penalty. But still, the India, a developing country, dare to frame the law which says the death penalty. Are you getting my point? Anything else?
Thank you.
Usually there are terrorist organizations. Usually there are terrorist organizations and
तुम्हाला काय विचारायचं.
there are terrorist. Normally there are terrorist organizations. What happens that some of the other organizations recognize them as a terrorist organization. They are considered terrorists, and if some person associates with them, then there are punishments which you have mentioned, like associating with them and harboring their members. Them also they will get the punishment. But what happens when that one person from the terrorist organization leaves their organization and forms another organization? His intention is to do a terrorist activity, but it has not been recognized as a terrorist organization. So harboring that person, can that be an offense?
Yes, if it is proved before the court. Okay. Otherwise, they have already created their own identity. No, they already form another organization. So they have already created their own identity as an organization. So they will treat it as the different organization only. So here there is no question of the harboring. Anything else?
Sir, I have a question. The recent genocide, the war is happening in Israel and Hamas. So many countries are not identifying that act as a genocide. And what is the reason?
The reason behind is that now here the question is basically relating to the international law.
Yeah.
Okay. International law does not have any binding force, first of all. And that is the reason why the Austin says the international law is not a true law. Okay, it does not have any binding force. And it is upon the convenience of the country whether they have to decide whether this act is a genocide or not. Some of the countries they will say that, the outside country they will say that this is the genocide act. The Hamas and the some other countries they will say this is not a genocide as per our country's tradition or culture. So each and every country they have their own aspects. Take an example. To understand this or to simplify this, we heard about the word caste and race. Right? What is the difference between caste and race? Any student, caste and race. What is a caste and race? Race means नहीं पता. Black white. Okay, in simple language, black white. Caste means दिमाग में तुरंत आता है ब्राह्मण, क्षत्रिय, शूद्र, वैष्णव आ जाता है ना. But if you ask this question in the Europe countries, the caste and race and the Western countries, they will answer only one thing, that is the black and white. For them, it's a one and the same thing, black and white. But in India, we have the different meaning. So that is the reason why the other countries will say that this is the genocide. Some other countries will say this is not a genocide. And this matter will finally go to the international court. Again, the international court judgment is not binding. Max to max, what will happen? They will impose a sanction. करो, हम तेल ही नहीं देंगे, ऑयल ही नहीं बेचेंगे, क्या करना है करो. Russia, still the US is doing business with the Russia. They want oil.
Yeah, but it needs to be stopped, right? It is happening from like it started on 23rd October 2023.
It will not stop until unless we have a good mediator. Just like the India, the Narendra Modi ji, he went to the Russia, he went to the Ukraine as well, and he played the role of the mediator. Now, look at the Ukraine and the Russia. Almost they have sorted out the things. So we need a international recognized face as a mediator. That's it.
How you spoke about international law, I have a doubt regarding that. Say there is one person who is a huge drug mafia and his business, like not a business, his crime syndicate is all around the world, is involved in drug trade. Okay, and he is a citizen of that small country which has huge amount of corruption, and he has got a huge influence in that country. And later on, that person is caught by Interpol. Then where his matter will be heard?
Again, here the Interpol is between which countries, that matters. You know that why we are not bringing the Vijay Mallya over here? There is no Interpol between the UK and the India. But why we brought that Chota Rajan, right? Chota Rajan in India. Sorry, Abu Saleh in India. From Indonesia, Bali. Bali से यहाँ पे लाया because of the Interpol between these two countries. So it is depending upon the country to country. Have you heard about the G7, G20? So G7 is nothing but the 7 countries are coming together and they are deciding and they are agreeing upon something and they are ratifying, they are reserving. There are a lot of things are there in international law. One more thing, as you raise this question, what is reservation? What is reservation? As an international law student, you must know this. What is reservation? Reservation means SC, ST, NT. This is not a reservation. If you go to some other countries and if you are talking about the international law, the reservation means we are participating in this particular convention, but at the same time we are reserving some of the provision of this convention. Because you may be think that uniform civil code, example, uniform civil code applicable to the some of the European countries, but this will not work out in our country. बाबा यहाँ पे बहुत सारे religious है, यहाँ पे हम लोगों ने अप्लाई किया ना, नेक्स्ट डे ना डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा कंट्री. So the India will go for the reservation. We want to reserve. This is the reservation. Okay. So whenever the international law is equal to reservation, think about that. Not SC/ST वाला reservation. ठीक है. Anything else?
I have two questions. First one is connected to her question. She mentioned about genocide, but Hamas is considered as a terrorist organization. It is also mentioned by UN also. But some countries again does not consider Hamas as a terrorist organization. So how is it? Will the same logic apply here? The second one is superintendent of police has the administrative discretion to include the offense whether in UAPA or PNS. So, do you think that he will also get
Biased.
Of course,
But obviously, there are chances. Okay. To answer your first, second, definitely it may lead to the biasness. Okay. The first one, you know that how many countries are recognized by the United Nations? 194. भाई एक बढ़ गया. साउथ सुडान एक लास्ट था. उसके बाद कौन सा आया आफ्टर साउथ सुडान? So United Nations, so approximately 194 countries. So if the 194 countries, if all the countries recognize this particular gang or organization as a terrorist, then the United Nations, the Security Council can take the actions. Otherwise, it's very difficult for the countries to take the action against that particular. Why? Because the United Nations, when they consider a particular country as one of the member, it means that they knows that this country is a sovereign, इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री है. अब इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री के अंदर तो आप नाक नहीं डाल सकते ना अपना. एंड दिस इज व्हाट दे आर डूइंग. Okay, each and every country they have their own independence, but when all the countries come together they can impose a sanction. अब sanction impose हो गया, उनके पास कुछ आ ही नहीं रहा है, जा भी नहीं रहा है, no import no export, what will happen? ऐसे ही मर जाएगा.
There is a banned organization. India has declared specific organization as a banned organization. It is working against India's sovereignty, and it is a threat, even a threat to security of India. It is a banned organization, and some person of that banned organization was shot dead, and there are protests in India. So all those who are doing the protest in India, it is the organization is outside India, and the protest they are doing in India, all those people who are involved in protest, can they be arrested?
No. Until and unless they harm to the society. Article 19 is there. Freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assembly. I am not hurting. What are the reasonable restrictions? Public order, security. I am not hurting any security. I am not damaging the security. I am not. These are my views. Until and unless you harm or you threaten the society, no one can do anything against you. Are you getting my point? You know that there is one person now. That person, I guess, in Singapore, like that. You know that person, who used to call the assemblies and excellent. Malaysia. Okay. What happened? There are supporters in India, but the government is doing anything. Article 19. Until and unless they are not harming, they will not do anything. If you involve in the act, then definitely the government will take the action. Okay. Anything else? Last one.
सर 90s मध्ये खूप एन्काउंटर झाले. छोट्यावधी लोखंडवाला भरपूर एन्काउंटर झाले. त्याच्यामध्ये त्यांची आयडिओलॉजी फिक्स होती की आदमी खतम फाईल खतम. ही पण आयडिओलॉजी होती त्यांची. मग हा टेरर नाही का की बाबा आम्हाला
कोणाचा टेरर?
त्या टाइमला जे एसीपी खान होते त्या टाइमला ते बोलले होते कि आदमी खत्म तो फाइल खत्म. क्योंकि ऑफिस में इतना कचरा हो गया है, सो मुझे आदमी खत्म करना तो फाइल खत्म हो जाएगी.
देखो, एनकाउंटर is one of the part of their duty. Are you getting my point? That is the reason why if anything happens, they labeled it as an encounter. Okay. After that, if you want to raise the objection on that, approach to the court. Right now, I do not go into the detail. You know that what is happening in the Belapur case, Badlapur case. Okay. SIT investigate the matter because it's a human right. Whether the encounter is a real one or the fake one. There are a lot of things, stories are there, but I cannot discuss with you right now. Before you, rather.
Thank you, Sandeep sir, for wonderful explanation about this topic. Your lecture will definitely helpful for us. You have presented your topic very simple and well. Thank you, sir. The last stage of the program is the Thanksgiving show. I invite Komal Shetty to vote of thanks.
तो तर असलंच पाहिजे मस्ट लॉ कसा वाचायचा.
A very good evening, dear all. Today I feel incredibly honored and privileged to have been allowed to extend a vote of thanks on this auspicious ceremony. This is a momentous day for us, as we all have tremendously gained knowledge. Therefore, I want to extend a warm regard and heartiest congratulations to our chief guest, Sir Mr. Sandeep Sawalkar, sir. I also want to thank all the respected delegates for taking their valuable time out and ensuring their presence here. As a union, we feel enlightened that we got to learn many more things from this conference. Words shall fall short of describing how much knowledge did we gain out here. Last but not the least, I want to extend a vote of thanks to the organizing team, our volunteers, for making this event so beautifully happen out. I would like to thank all the participants who took out time to join us today. Your active participation and engagement in this session had made it even more worthwhile. I hope we continue to work like this and organize such events in the future for the betterment and upliftment of people from the same fraternity. It's always a warm welcome for everyone wishing to join our DSST team. Your contribution shall help to grow us as a group. Thank you so much.
We should all stand for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग. विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे. गाए तव जय गाथा. जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे. भारत माता जय.
And I very much grateful to the sir Prakash sir and Advocate Ganesh for giving me an opportunity to deliver the lecture before you. And thank you all.
India.